So in this video, I wanted to talk to you guys about selling your soul. Oftentimes, this is painted as just like celebrities or people who are really famous, really high up, and how they sold their soul to meet certain agendas and whatever else. But this goes a lot deeper, and there's different levels to it. Now, I want to go ahead and say this video is probably going to trigger a good amount of people, but discomfort or anger is the first step to realization. I don't make my videos to tell people what they want to hear. I just speak what I know. So pay close attention to what I'm about to say. Selling your soul is when someone chooses to surrender or give up or let go of their morals, their values, their identity, what makes them them, in exchange for money, for resources, or for any sort of other benefits. So yes, many celebrities have sold their soul. They are paid X amount of money to push certain agendas through the music, through the media, through TV shows and other platforms, as well as given fame and status and other stuff. And by pushing out these agendas, they're complying to a system that goes against their identity, their being, and their moral compass. But just like how this goes on up at a high level, this goes on at a low level too. There are tons of you guys who are out there and you are working a job that you absolutely hate. You are doing things that do not align with who you are. You are doing things that go against your very being. You show up, go to work, and you work for someone who disrespects you, talks down on you, treats you like trash, pays you a terrible wage, and you're doing that in exchange for money. A lot of you guys have already sold your souls and you don't even realize. And then if I were to even factor in doing degrading stuff or stuff at your workplace that you know is wrong or you feel is wrong. And I know this firsthand because I went through a very dark period in my life. There was a point in time when I was really young. I was a very bright and in tune kid, and then I was dumbed down by the world. I wasn't as spiritually in tune. Anyway, I joined the military at a very young age, and I had a 6-year contract, and I started raising back up in consciousness towards the end of my contract, and I realized that I was supporting a corrupt and dirty system. And lots of people say, well, what are we supposed to do? We got to work, blah, blah, whatever. But working for the system is not how things are supposed to be. And until people come together and realize that, the system will continue to oppress us. All these animals that are around me, you guys hear my videos a lot, the birds chirping, the bees flying around, and the dragonflies, they don't pay to exist, yet we do. Think about that. So how are things supposed to be? One, I talk about a lot in my videos. Oneness. Literally, nature is the example. Everything operates as one. Everything helps and assists one another, and there's a constant cycle. So the sun is radiating its light down and its UV rays, and that helps grow plants, and then animals eat plants, and then from eating the plants, some animals get eaten by other animals or whatever else. But it's a constant cycle of everything working together as one, helping one another. The plants wouldn't get pollinated if it wasn't for the bees, and nothing would be surviving if it wasn't for water that got rained down, and on and on and on. But everyone and everything has something to contribute, and they have a purpose or role to fulfill. But the world wants you to believe, no, you have to do what you're told. You're designed to work. You have to work to survive, but nothing else that exists pays to exist. Yet here we are paying to exist. You see, all of us have gifts, skills, and talents, and those gifts, skills, and talents are supposed to be used so we could all help one another coexist together. We're not here to support a corrupt system where some people get to live like kings and like gods, while you have other people who struggle just to survive day by day. There isn't supposed to be some system in place where you have to pay rent, you have to pay mortgage, you have to pay for water, you have to pay for food. They started hacking down the trees and getting rid of the vegetables and the fruits because they didn't want people walking around like nomads. That's why they got rid of that stuff. if there was fruit trees and vegetables growing abundantly like there originally was at one time, you know how many people would be walking around as nomads instead of working? So they hacked all that stuff down and said they got rid of it because it was making a mess and other reasons, blah, blah, blah. And then they started selling it back to the people. This is the system of the world. They take something, twist it, corrupt it, change the story on it, and sell it back to people. They've done this with religion, the various enlightened masters. They've taken their words, twisted it, distorted it, and then sold it back to people. They've done it with Mother Nature. Take the fruits and the vegetables, change it, GMO, sell it back to people, and place people in this system of control where they're constantly looking outside of themselves for something to help them along in life. And I don't want to get into a ranting fest, but another thing I'll say is I've sold myself out for most of my life. I have for most of my life, my soul has been sold to other businesses and organizations. And I worked for people who treated me bad, paid me badly, didn't see my value, didn't see my worth. Even though I showed up on time all the time, I basically never called out. I always did my job proficiently. It's all part of the system, because the moment they let you know your value, they realize they have to pay you your worth. They have to give you your worth, and they're not willing to do that. So most jobs will never let you know that, and it's all part of the system. Religion, jobs, as far as grocery stores and everything else, they want you to have to seek outside of yourself to be okay in life, for power, to be able to survive, instead of realizing the power's in all of us. But until we realize the power's in all of us and we all come together, the system will continue to oppress people.